let's talk about subjects that are near and dear to our heart. I'm a massive fan of you and your
That's nice of you
comedic stylings.
Thank you, Conan. I'm a massive fan of yours. I am. Wow. There's no other way to do that.
It was an ill-timed. Wow. Because you're.
Oh my God.
Who said, "Oh my God"? Was that you?
No.
I was drinking water, and I'm not that.
But you're a very good ventriloquist. You talk about so many themes that I can relate to, and I'm not going to mention any specific projects because we're not doing that now.
We're not going to do that.
We're not going to do that, but I've seen you live many times, and so many times you so beautifully and perfectly and hilariously capture things that I talk about. And one of the things that you've talked about some is when you grow up in families like ours, in birth order, the need for attention and the things that you will do to get attention.
100%.
And I was watching your, just you being very hilarious about the things you would do and your jealousy of other people that got attention in weird ways. And I was listening to this and thinking, I've got to mention this to John. When I was a kid, I desperately wanted attention. Middle child, didn't think I was getting it. And in class, we read the book Death Be Not Proud, which is a true story of the author's son's battle with brain cancer.
It was the writer who wrote Travels of Europe and Travels of USA. He had two
And John Gunther.
Yeah.
And it's the story of his son battling brain cancer. And I remembered reading that book and being jealous of, and the kid loses the battle, dies. And I read the book, and I remember thinking, that guy got so much attention.
Oh my God.
And it was like, now do you understand that?
1,000%.
Thank you.
What?
Thank you.
I remember telling my mom exactly what I wanted at my funeral. And I had no illness.
Right.
And she said, well, you're not going to be there to see it all. And I was crestfallen.
I still can't get over that.
That I wasn't going to get to see people listen to all the songs I picked and have the speakers come up, say what a good person I was. God damn. Can you imagine?
I remember that, and I also remember going to Mass with my whole family, and my grandmother came with us. And I mentioned this to you guys the other day, but I have to say this in front of John. And so I don't know how old I am. I'm like 11 or 12. And I just feel like I'm just this redheaded, round-faced, freckled blob just lost in the sea. Like, no one's looking at me. So, and my grandmother was with us, who was ancient. She was born in I think she was born in like 1890. So, and, I think she was the person who shot Teddy Roosevelt when he was giving a speech. That was her claim to fame. But
Best political mic drop ever.
Thank you. Yeah.
Bull Moose Party speech.
Yeah,
I don't think he realized I've been shot. Everyone laughs. He goes, no, look.
And he opens his jacket, and his glasses case stopped the bullet. Wow. And then he continues the speech. Wow. So today that would be, okay, just be president. Let's stop fucking around trying to find someone else. Anyway, my grandmother's with us. We're all there in church. And then there's the part where you go up and take communion. And I got out, and I feigned a limp.
I knew you were going to say that.
I faked a slight limp going up the aisle and took my communion, and then did my limp on the way back and sat down, and my grandmother leaned over and she said into my ear, "Are you lame, boy?" And I said, "I'll be fine," bravely. It was all bullshit.
Wow.
Because I needed to pop in that moment, and I wasn't popping.
Is responsible for your success. That drive.
My fake limp?
No, just
that's why Lauren gave me late night.
Yeah.
I'm concerned about his limp. Maybe a little late night experience.
Lauren cast him in. Lauren was directing Richard III and gave him the lead. And then from there, from Richard III, he said, "You want to write the late night show?" And he said, "What if I host it?"
What if I host it?
Everyone was so busy that it happened.
Yeah.
Everyone was busy. That's why.
That part's kind of true.
Yeah, it's a little bit.
Everyone is. That actually is true.
I remember one year I told everyone in school that my dad was Mark Summers, the host of Double Dare.
Whoa.
And I would say these things, then I'd forget about them.
Right.
And then people would meet my dad and be upset. And then I would go to school and say that our house burnt down the night before just to get any traction.
Yes.
It was just about getting a little eye contact and a little conversation going.
We're not, I don't know about you, I'm not defending any of this behavior. And this is sad, tragic behavior. I am just that when until John said these things in his stand-up, I felt, well, I can never admit to this, but then a very well-liked professional comedian and voice of youth said the same thing, and I thought, now I can talk about this. Now I can say that one of the happiest days of my life is when I shattered my elbow and had to be put in a cast.
Wow.
And they brought me, because a kid in school, we were fooling around and a kid jumped up on top of me and I fell back and put my arm back and it bent
A separate
completely.
piece style.
Yeah, the wrong way. And they put me in what was like a 1920s comedy cast. Today it would be like microsurgery and then like a tiny... They put me in a cast that was made of a plaster that they
Did
used...
it have the stick going from
It didn't have this. I wanted the stick. Trust me.
stick going from forearm to rib?
Yeah, from
That's
forearm
the
to rib.
funniest thing.
Yes.
Stick.
Yeah.
Because you
at the
wonder
end-
if there's even anything in there if it's just all plastic.
Yeah. I had my real arm tied behind me, and then I had a fake cast with a stick. No, but I remembered they gave me medication. And I remember thinking, I feel amazing. I have an incredible sense of well-being.
Wonderful.
And then I have this cast on, and they took me home, and I lived up in the attic. They put me in they put me on the second floor.
Oh,
They put me on the
Wow,
second floor,
second
and then
floor status.
Christmas was coming soon. So my parents brought out gifts for me. This was like December 18th. And then all my brothers and sisters gathered around, and I thought, I hope this arm withers.
Yeah.
I hope this arm never heals.
I'm
Ever.
just so curious, talent aside, because this is the talent side of the table, how much of that
He
drive...
just gestured to
Yeah.
John.
Thanks,
I just
Matt.
want.
No, I did
That's-
it.
yeah.
I'm just saying.
What I saw was
He's
you
right.
pushed in and then you scooped towards John.
I took your small portion and I just hedged my bets over here. How much of that is your drive? Because, every kid dabbles in that. We dabbled in attention seeking, but I think at a certain point you go, okay, I got to be realistic here. But you continued on. How much of that drive is responsible for where you guys are very successful? I'm just curious. What?
Why don't you take this, John?
Well, I don't know.
Because there's obviously talent, but what chicken or the egg? What gives you the talent? The need to, like, you workshop your talent for a need for attention, or you had the talent? How did?
Well,
it go?
it's like if you have the need for attention, the drive for attention, and then you have the delivery device of entertainment.
Which comes first?
That's why I think not everyone does it. Maybe some people didn't just love entertaining and show business as much.
Well,
I was always mystified by kids that didn't want to be in entertainment.
Yeah. Oh,
mystified.
Me too. And also,
I'm still mystified by people that don't want to be comedians. I'm actually still quite confused by why people don't want to be comedians. I'm not remotely kidding.
But also,
I don't understand. It's
you
the life of
openly
kids.
mock the guy that made like the Hubble Space Telescope.
That thing, that's no good. You look in it, you just see your eyelashes. You look in the viewer, it's all eyelashes. That thing stinks. Do you have a friend with a telescope and they make you look at, they go, you can see Saturn tonight.
And
You look in, you see your own eyelashes.
Yeah, I do.
And then when they finally show it to you, it's like a dot, and you go, oh, okay. And the guy, one time this happened, the guy said to me, what did you think it was going to be? I go, I'm embarrassed to say what I thought it was going to be. And he's like, did you think it'd be a ball with rings around it and you'd see that through the telescope? I said, yes, absolutely.
That's the whole reason for having a telescope.
wanna-
I can go online
Yeah.
and look at an amazing photo of Saturn. I don't need to come over to your house and you serve this shit wine. And now I'm supposed to look at my eyelash and then a dot?
Yeah.
And by the way, that's not guacamole. If there's not onion in it, it's not guacamole.
Wow.
I'm getting very specific.
Wow.
Anyway,
The Hubble's crap anyway. It's people that know about that stuff know it's crap. But I know to the public it's a big to-do.
Look, the new telescope, the Webb telescope, now that's the winner.
The Webster Hubble telescope.
Is it Webster? Okay.
Who was Webster Hubble? Is that Reagan, Bush? What is that? What is that name? That reference? Webster Hubble. It's a person.
I don't know that it is.
Okay.
And I think you should maybe go.
Nobody look at me.
Attorney General
Under?
from 1993 to 1994.
Oh,
Bill
that's
Clinton.
Clinton. Never mind.
Incredible. Yeah, I'm not going to say that you brought us down an unproductive cul-de-sac, but I am going to say you're insistent.
You know what's good about a cul-de-sac? You can drive right out of it. We know who Webster Hubble is now. You know what I mean?
What bothers me is that when you entered the building, the name Webster Hubble was written on your hand, as if work this in. Yeah. That's the part that concerns me.
And we still haven't even gotten to see Everett Koop.
I love that beard.
Yeah.
What a great whaler he was.
Hi, my name is John Mulaney, and I feel litigious.
Nice.
About being Conan O'Brien's friend, sir.
Are you already lawyered up?
I'm heavily lawyered up.
Okay, I need to lawyer up. This is going to be a few phone calls. I'll take you on any day. I would like us to be in a long, protracted lawsuit that nobody understands.
I'd love it. And we start having to refer to each other as Mr. Mulaney and Mr. O'Brien. There's a moment in the Eagles documentary where things get litigious, and suddenly it's like what Mr. Felder fails to understand is that we are a brotherhood.
My favorite part of the Eagles documentary is, I think, there's a part where they realize that David Geffen is kind of taking advantage of them, and they, unbelievably, and
that
so
crack squad.
And so the way the documentary lays out, if you watch the Eagles documentary, and you do not have to be an Eagles fan to love the Eagles documentary,
You just have to have some time.
Yeah, you just have to have some time. But it's a great documentary in the way things lay out. They got everyone to talk. So they have different Eagles talking about getting together, and then they meet David Geffen, and then David Geffen says, oh, they were the best. They're fantastic. They were amazing. I knew right away. And then they all start working together. Everything's great. And then some of them on camera start to say, yeah, but then we thought maybe this deal, maybe David Geffen's getting a lot of money. And they cut to David Geffen and he went, musicians are ingrates. You know, totally. I think in the same day that he's...
They go from Don Henley talking to Geffen, and he goes, he's a malcontent.
He's a malcontent.
He's always been a malcontent.
But then they all go their separate ways from David Geffen. The documentary goes on for another bunch of years, and then the Eagles break up. Then they're all on their own, and Henley says, I bump into David Geffen, and I'm thinking, what was that all about? Let's get back together again. And then they cut to Geffen, and he's like, I knew Henley. He was the voice. And he was so magical. He could do no wrong. And then they start working together for a little bit. And Don Henley goes, yeah. And then I started to notice that, my socks were missing and my watch was missing. And then they cut to him and he goes, a malcontent. This happens.
He's always going to be a malcontent.
Oh, we should get into that kind of lawsuit. People would love it.
I'd love it. I love if let's do something together and then fight over the rights to it until we bury each other in legal costs.
Yes.
That'd be so fun.
And everyone will know about the beef we have because it will we'll make sure that it's constantly in the trades, but no one will ever really understand what it's all about. We should buy a piece of property together.
It should also become a thing where the tactics of the lawsuit then become what we're fighting over.
Yes.
Where like the actual, where I'm now just harassing you and you me. It's so funny. People love suing.
They
just
do.
love it.
They do.
Well, I'll see you in court, asshole. They love it. They love every part of it.
Well, we're going to start that. We'll tackle that later. Okay. I promise you there'll be a John Mulaney, Conan O'Brien lawsuit coming very soon. Let me congratulate.
Let's write one song together.
Called We Will Always Be Friends.
Yeah, we will always be friends. Two content men.
By the contentors.
Yeah.
I want to compliment you. Everybody's live first episode. I don't know when this airs. When does this air? You idiots. I'm sorry, I'm looking at my own people, not you, John. I have nothing but respect for you because I don't see you that often. But I'm talking about the people I love and respect here.
March 31st.
Okay. Well,
okay, so we'll have done 12th, 19th, 26th. We'll have done 3 by then.
Okay.
But you could just say I saw the first one. It's okay.
Okay. And we're not even going to edit this because I like people to see the process. That
100%.
We are fallible.
Exactly.
People don't know that you and I
and that this isn't coming to you right out of the mic. He's banking these.
Yes, I'm banking.
He just
these.
has a bank of them.
Yeah.
So he can sell the library.
Yeah, Jimmy Carter still has 2 years to live as we record this.
Now I have to edit.
Okay, that thing you made.
You ruined it.
All right, I fucked up.
I'll see you in court.
That guy loved hospice. He was in hospice forever.
He got better in hospice.
Yeah, I know.
Jimmy Carter's the only guy that went into hospice And then, like 6 weeks later, they saw him jogging around the neighborhood and lifting weights. He was down in Venice Beach weightlifting.
Yeah, no, he really was. He was drinking pre-workout powder and just doing leg days.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Everybody's Live, your show makes me very happy.
Thanks, man.
And I'm just delighted that you're doing it, and kind of don't understand why nobody said, hey, I want to play with this format for a specific amount of time and really fuck around and play with it and then move on to some other stuff and then maybe come back to it. There was in my day, kind of get down into the galley and pull that oar for, you know what I mean? An hour a day, and it really does change the tenor of everything. And here you guys are just having fun. And I'm not sure, I know you're going to do, you had the previous season, which had a different name.
That was Everybody's in LA, yeah.
Right.
And we covered the city of LA. It was during the Netflix as a Joke festival.
Yes.
So like every comedian was in town.
Yeah.
And it was a funny situation that we're all in the town of Los Angeles.
Yes.
This we've broadened out, topic-wise and where we're filming some stuff. But
And you have a very, your monologue I thought was very funny, but you talk about, you had a focus group, look at the name, everybody's in LA. And you said, a lot of people in the United States don't like Los Angeles.
no, it's really... I was like, no, come on, people, it's not coastal. They say live from New York, it's Saturday night. I was like, people like knowing the data. No, people don't like Los Angeles. And then after the fires, I thought, now they might like it. Feel bad for it, at least. No.
And you know what's interesting is that people...
Pro-fire, the focus group.
Yeah.
May have started it.
Yeah, maybe it started.
The fire is running for president next year as a Democrat. The thing that's shocking is if you drift around LA and get a little north, like people in San Francisco hate LA.
Yeah.
People in LA don't feel that way about San Francisco.
I don't think they feel that way about any place.
Yeah. People in LA are quite, I ask them about any place, ask them about Boulder. They're like, oh yeah, Boulder sounds great. I've never been there, but it sounds great.
They love every area right outside of LA.
Yes.
Any place, Cerritos. Oh, Cerritos, it's great. People love Palos Verdes. Anything near it.
Yeah.
We're pro.
Yes.
There's not even like suburban,
There's a very open-mindedness towards other areas, but everyone's sort of decided that LA is a terrible place filled with terrible people. So I think you were right to change the title. Everybody's Live. And
it's also funny to cave. Just to be like to be it struck me as a funny situation to kind of be like, I've been able to do a lot of things in the past few years, and I have some options. It wasn't like it's this show or the highway. So the fact that I caved so quickly on a thing like the title was, to me, funny in and of itself.
Yes.
They go, we want you to take out LA, and me to go, okay.
Yeah.
Whatever you want.
So it would be funny for you you would enjoy being a narc, for example, or to
if I didn't have to, because some people it's like, you get busted with, with a kilo and you're like, you got to flip on some other guys.
Right.
That's a jam. But to choose to narc, out of the sheer fucking love of it.
So to sell secrets to the Russians and not even profit from it.
I love those people the most. The actual pro-Russia people.
Or they're not even pro-Russia. They just enjoy it. It's fun to sell state secrets.
Yeah. What was Alger Hiss? Was he getting money, or was he just like, some people I think gave secrets because they're like, it can't be so one-sided.
Right. He wanted to even things out.
Yeah.
I forget what Alger Hiss did something too, like he hit microfilm in a carved out pumpkin, I think. Listen, he was you kids, you better bone up on this. But Alger Hiss, of course, really was how Richard Nixon made his career. He made his bones prosecuting Alger Hiss. There you go. Little fun fact for you kids that are listening right now. This is why they won't let me have a weekly TV show anymore. I would turn your show so quickly into Alger Hiss history.
I'm seriously skating that right now.
Hey, I want to make sure I mention something, which is that you have a channel.
I do.
which I think is fantastic, which is you have your own Sirius XM channel, Life with John Mayer, and it's a different approach because you're not just playing your music.
Very
or
little
music.
of it. It bums me out when my music comes on. It's based on time of day. So
And I thought of this because of the Jack track. I'm not kidding.
Did you really?
But
Great.
the riff about the Jack track got me thinking,
Great.
wait a minute. I know this sounds like a forced plug, but it's not. I think you have a very cool approach to having a channel, and I'm eager to check it out. But tell us what it is.
It's called Life with John Mayer,
Mhm.
and it is not genre-based as much as it's based on the time of day.
Right.
Because when we got into algorithms and Spotify and stuff, we kind of got trapped in this idea of telling a computer what we want to hear. And I always say it's sort of like your grandmother keeping track of what you like.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
and they're wrong a lot, you know. And I know you're pulling a Jack track thing in on.
No, I wouldn't.
But
Never.
but
I would never go back to something crass. I would never call back a crass remark. That's just not me.
but you know, you go, I don't know, what do I want to hear? What do I want to hear?
Yeah.
And then you tell Spotify, and Spotify goes, I know what you want after this.
Right.
And it's the same 6-7 songs. And it starts to, like, for me personally, it was becoming claustrophobic. I'd go to the gym. I'd go, I don't know. Give me George Benson. Give me The Night. And it would go, got it, son. And then I would know what was coming after that.
Right.
And I was just getting more and more confined in what I was listening to. And I thought, if there was a Sirius channel where every time you turned it on, the music was synchronized to the time of day as best as possible. Like at night, it's super mellow music. So you can have it on in the kitchen. I do, it's great. In the morning, it's like drive time music, because when you wake up in the morning, you don't want it. It's not Tom Waits time
No.
in the morning. It's okay to hear, since you've been gone. And you might not play that. You might not think to tell Spotify to play that. But when it comes on at 7 a.m. and you're in traffic, it's like, right on. Right. It's great. It's like a cup of coffee,
What's
and then,
programmed at 10 a.m.?
Dead air.
I'll be back in 7 minutes.
We're going to take a quick break for between 7 and 11 minutes. We're going to let dead air speak for itself. I'll be right back, slightly out of breath and ready to play you some Pearl Jam.
I'll be right back after I find that Sports Illustrated with Kathy Ireland from 1992.
What is it? Throwback? It's Throwback Tuesday.
It's Throwback Tuesday, so that would be Kathy Ireland,
It's
Sports
gonna be-
Illustrated.
We're going to be, that's so funny. It's Throwback
Then you
Tuesday.
hear me opening a safe.
I like the idea. Your hardcore porn is strewn out and about throughout the house.
First of
but
all,
the
it's
Kathy
not
Ireland is
online.
locked
It's
up.
not online. It's in a safe.
You put on white cotton gloves,
Yeah.
which is in itself a weird obstacle.
And then 3 to the right, and then hello, Miss Ireland.
It's like you got the blue booties on, hyperbaric room. It's like the curation room of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
No fluorescent lighting.
I love the burglars that come to my house and bust open the safe. They take the safe out of the wall and then they get it back to where their lair and they crack it open. It's
Or-
like, what the hell is this?
They follow you home and hold you at gunpoint to open the safe, and you finally open it up, and club magazines come cascading out.
These are all very attractive women from the late 80s and early 90s.
This is a printout of Samantha Fox.
Half of these are articles. The best VCRs of 1988?
You actually printed the article on most poisonous snakes? There's always one article. The deadliest snakes.
And every now and then I'm getting aroused by that. Wow.
An interview with the John 316 guy from the baseball games.
Where's Conan? Someone mentioned Egyptian asp, and he dashed off. He said he'd be back in 7 to 11 minutes.
Oh my God.
God.
Well, first of all, I'm very happy you're doing this channel, and you're going to be like taking calls. You're going to be talking to people because
I go live. I take calls. Ideally, I'd like to do interviews with people. If you think I'm any good,
I would love to. I mean, this has been an absolute blast, and I would happily, anytime you want me, come by. Yeah,
I'd love bring a guitar. We'll do buckets of rain. I actually mean it. You're the most encouraging person I've ever seen during a conversation. Are you aware that you give constant kinesthetic encouragement?
I'm loving this. This is one of my favorite episodes we've ever done.
Okay,
This is
because
great.
I look over to you, and this is if everyone in the
so
crowd
good.
were doing what you were doing.
Why do you think Conan keeps him around?
You're effusive? It's
You know,
great.
the thing is, everyone else here, cuts me down, and Blay is always telling me that was amazing, even when it wasn't.
No, it's great.
It is amazing.
No,
it's always
this
amazing.
This episode is
so
great.
good. It makes me feel so good. Honest to God.
No, I would be thrilled, honored
Thank you.
to come by and hang. And I would not. I just have to ask you one. There's one question that's been in the back of my mind. It doesn't relate to any of this.
This is not the place.
This is neither the time nor the place
The
for your
time or
questions.
place.
But seriously, I'm thinking to myself, I get this way around people that comedy gods that I idolize, and I'm thinking, if you're opening for the Rolling Stones, do you not leave your body and look at yourself doing it and go, this isn't real? Do you have that moment, or do you get to a thing where you're just like, no, I'm opening for the Rolling Stones?
It's somewhere in between. It's holy shit, but it's also we are bound by being musicians.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't say they're peers. I wouldn't put myself on that level, but we both love the same things.
Right.
We both stand at the same altar when we play to the same things.
Mm-hmm.
And so at some point, I have to assume that the reason I got asked to be there was because I was welcome to be there.
Sure. Yeah.
And so I think I play better when I go, no, you're supposed to be here. Do that thing that you do. Do
Right.
that thing that you do while you're here. But it never escapes me that it's the Stones. So I try not to be intimidated. And especially now that I've played with so many great artists and had really great conversations with so many great artists, even just like practicing asking questions. I only wanted to answer questions until I was like 40.
Right.
I was only interested in hitting the balls.
Right.
And now I'm actually like, I've heard every fucking thought I have.
Yeah.
I've heard every thought. I'm pretty familiar with my take. I'm way more interested in getting someone else to a place they didn't know that they were going to get to.
And also curiosity. I think curiosity is the big engine. Curiosity is a nuclear engine. And
That's
I
right.
think the thing that has helped me in my life more than in my career anyway is that I want to know, like, oh, cool, John Mayer's coming. I want to open up the top of his head and let's play.
That's right.
That's really fun. And I think it's possible to lose that, and I've been very fortunate that I haven't lost my. I just want to know, like, what's up with this person? What's going on? And let's talk.
Yeah, again, I never saw it as scoring points to hear great answers until I became older.
Yep.
I just wanted to be in the batting cage.
Right.
And I think I just stopped being curious about myself.
Right.
And I'll meet people who are 22 and 23 that other people will call obnoxious. And I won't be so fast to call them obnoxious. I'll be like, they're just hearing themselves play for the first time. They just got out of college or they just wrote their first big thing. They're hearing every note they can play. I'm pretty familiar with my thoughts. Something changed where interesting thoughts from other people that I know I had something to do with extracting, or even at its best, someone coming up with how they feel.
Yep.
That to me now is way more fun than me investigating how I might feel about something. And I've just been practicing the last 3 years without really knowing it. I mean, isn't there something fun about being at a table at a dinner party and being the kind of, not the host of it, but the sort of spiritual designer of this great conversation where the other half of the table is like, what's going on over there?
Right.
And you're not talking the most, but you are providing the most in terms of getting everyone else to come out. Because the best conversations at dinner parties, it's all happening in the middle.
Yeah.
It's all taking place in the middle. So those things really interest me. And I'd like to get to the point. I think I just need to do one really good interview and other people would maybe hear. I'm already down on myself about whether or not anyone would want to do it because it's so new for me.
Oh,
so
I would not worry about. I wouldn't worry about that at all. Like, just anyone listening to this podcast will be happy to hear you chatter away and ask questions, and because you're really funny.
Thank you.
Really, and you've always been really funny. But also, I think people, as I said, being around, kicking around the planet for a while is a great balm. It's a great, it's great for us to marinate and because I am less judgmental. I was always curious, but I'm less judgmental, and I just kind of, and I kind of want to know what's happening with other people.
That's right.
And those are nice qualities, and I think you'll kill it. I think you're going to do a great job. I wouldn't worry about it.
I was thinking, I've survived every scary thought I've ever had in my life. I've survived it. I've woken up the next day.
Right.
And I've survived everything I thought was going to kill me. And so now, and I got to a place where I feel like there's this trust in what I do with people that if I put a record out a year, 2 years, 3 years from now, people will go, oh, I want to hear what he has to say.
Yeah.
So everything feels so set in a way that makes me feel like it's this until a doctor sits me down and says, when I first got into medicine, I go, oh boy, whatever that conversation is someday where I'm told I can't stay.
Yeah.
That's the end of it. But until then, don't you feel like this is the straightaway now? This is the best?
Oh, I like this part
this
better
is the
than
best.
any other part.
That you did all the work to get here.
Right.
To where you can hire actors to hang out outside.
Once you got into this building, I didn't want to pay for them the whole time.
They're eating across the street.
Gone. Yeah, and they're not being paid for that time. But the minute you leave, they're all going to rush back. I actually have one guy in the corner sawing something, and there's no reason for a guy to be sawing something at a podcast.
You have a guy dressed like an Oompa Loompa.
Yeah.
Who's the man with the measuring tape? Who's just going around measuring everything?
And also, why did I make it look like an off-track betting place? And here comes Lucky Lindy in the straightaway.
Is the reason there are so many people here in this building sort of buzzing around with work and creativity because that's how you came up working on the TV show? And you want to carry that same vibe?
We knew you were coming, and those are actors.
Am I getting punked?
This is like, have you ever seen that movie The Sting, where they have to pretend it's a casino, but it's an off-track betting place, but it's not, and they just hire a bunch of actors?
So Ashton is in the grooming van outside.
He's watching. I love being around a lot of people. I come from a big family, a lot of siblings, and a lot of chaos. I like having people around. I like, I think you've noticed, like, I just love bouncing off of people.
Yes.
I get a perverse thrill out of them making fun of me. I don't know.
Yeah.
And they do.
And you get power from making fun of them.
Yes. I grow stronger by belittling them. If someone has an ailment, I really go to town. Where's your leg? Oh my God, Conan.
Jesus.
Don't say that to Limpy. I should learn Limpy's name, by the way. Fell asleep on a train track. Terrible. But I love having people around, and I can't work in a vacuum. There are times if I have to really think about something, I need to go off and be by myself, and I loathe it. But then I have to go back into this. We have this Keebler-Elf tree going here, and I really love that feeling of bouncing off. I mean, I it's so funny because I've been in comedy for so long, and I can certainly talk a blue streak. But this podcast, I think what makes the whole thing work is if I was here alone, it wouldn't happen. But I'm here with Sona and Matt and Eduardo and Blay, and I can bounce off them. They can challenge me. We can get into it. And so there's a little bit of a chemistry here that really makes it special.
It's so good that as a guest, I was wondering on the way here, like, okay, what's going to be my tactic in terms of being funny occasionally? And then as soon as you went, I was like, oh, I don't have to worry about carrying the weight of any of that, because to bounce off of you, to give you the idea, to set you up for the big joke makes me feel like I made the joke.
Yeah.
Also,
there's a big thing you learn in anything is just, I don't care how we get there as long as I'm happy that we get there. Like occasionally we'll go and I'll travel the podcast, and these two, I don't remember your names, but I'll get it.
You just said it.
I know, and I had it written on my hand, but then it washed away. My tears as I was laughing about Limpy. Tears of joy.
And yet you remembered his name, which
I know.
He's got one leg.
He's got one leg.
okay.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, get it together. You don't sleep on a train track. But
He didn't even hear the train.
Yeah.
Now we can hear the train.
But like this
Fell asleep on the train.
that's the problem with those Acellas. They're so quiet.
Coming on strong. I fell asleep on that train. When I woke up, I was walking all wrong.
Walking all wrong. I love
Walking
that.
all wrong.
Man.
All night long. I was walking all wrong. With one leg strong. And the other one hanging, just bopping along. I was walking along.
Okay, so you've got Ballad of Limpy.
A Ballad of Limpy.
And what is it? Shitfinger Jones?
Shitfinger Jones.
No, wait a minute.
sings.
You have half an album
This
already.
is what I do. This is what I do.
This is
And by
where
the
you
way,
should come.
If I'm lucky, you guys go home tonight, take your jacket off, and you go, I was walking all wrong. And your spouse or roommate says, what's that you're singing?
I like
and you
that.
go, Mayor started singing it, and it's stuck in my head.
Is that the
I
Ballad
was
of
walking all wrong.
So sing more.
Back on.
And also,
Let's
in your
on the
version, the
train.
leg is still there, but it's hanging on by a
It's, in
thread.
my version, it's on Tunnel of Love by Bruce Springsteen.
And the man in the sun.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Well, it's Saturday night. I fell asleep on the tracks. And when I woke up, I felt something different run up and down my back. My right leg was mostly hanging on by a thread.
I love this song.
It's so good.
That was a great contribution by
Yeah,
that.
well, you're gonna
Whatever you just did.
You act like I didn't elevate what John did. I elevated what John did.
No, you didn't.
John was singing in his
Yep.
barely passable voice,
Barely.
and then I added, which I
That
think
was
makes
like
it.
a 10 a.m. orgasm. I don't know what you were doing.
If I could have an orgasm at 10
Orgasm.
a.m., I'd be quite happy, sir.
Yeah, you're about right for me. Someone's been looking at my iCal. Yeah, high time, 10 a.m. high time. People want to go on a date. I'm like, sorry. Every day begins at 10:30 a.m. If you want to go on a date with me, you got to get your request in before 10 o'clock a.m.
The new Apple Watch has a
That's
function
right.
that lets you know when John Mayer has orgasm. And I don't know how to turn it off.
Imagine that at Macro.
It's like
One
the
more
U2
thing.
album. It's just on there.
No,
You
it's,
have
I mean,
choice?
first of all, you can turn it off, but you have to go in to the fucking
Oh, yeah.
whole thing and turn it off.
Yeah.
So I'll just be walking, be 10 every morning around 10 a.m. It goes like, and I'm like,
They'd say, one more thing. With Apple's new exciting Jack Track, you can find out when you or your loved ones are pleasuring themselves so as to better time your amorous moments. We believe that with a new longer life battery in the Ultra 8 and Jack Track,
I love the Jack Track.
Apple-
That's an app. The Jack Track. You've got 2 songs and an app out of
Yes.
this relatively short
That's what we do.
discussion.
That's what we do. Hi, my name is John Mayer, and I feel accepted about being Conan O'Brien's friend.
That's very nice. Like you've been accepted into an elite
Yeah.
club. Maybe the most elite club in show business.
I have always wanted to be, before this became a catchphrase, I've wanted to be your friend.
You know, it's interesting. You were very nice. You came on the show many times over the years.
Yeah.
And you'd always say the nicest things. You would do these interviews and people would be saying to me, like, John Mayer, it's a huge deal. And they would say, oh, he's in an interview where they're trying to talk to him about music. You would say nice things about our show and what we were trying to do. So it was very nice.
I mean it. I mean, I don't want to do the thing where someone says like, you never invite me over, Dave. You know,
Right.
but I have waited to be on this podcast. I've waited for you to ask me to be on the podcast for a long time. Not angrily, but that's all to say I'm excited to finally be here.
I just want to say that everyone in this room has been here when they repeatedly come in and say, what about John Mayer? And I say, absolutely.
won't have it.
I say, absolutely
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
I'm not having it.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of this guitar fellow.
Yeah,
That's
not a
what I
fan.
always say.
Not a fan.
I'm thrilled you're here.
I am. Thank you.
And my acting assumption is that people don't want to do it. So I'm very happy to have you. So let's clear the air on that and also clear the air on which of us is the better musician,
Oh.
because that's a running debate.
No, it's not.
No, nobody's debating
Oh,
that.
I'm thinking of a different debate.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of the famous Lincoln Douglas debates, which is, I'm sorry, I completely forgot because you're a virtuoso.
Thank you.
Oh,
You play
Jesus.
from the heart. You play with love.
No, that's the way to put
That's
it.
the you have a good personality.
Well, no, when it comes to playing the guitar,
I play
You play with great
I
intention.
play with.
You play with your hands.
No, you do. You do. You know.
You know what's really funny is I've always I've struggled it throughout my life to play the guitar, and one of my go-to songs was always Bob Dylan's "Buckets of Rain." I love that song, and I like to play it, and I like to sing it, and I always started to think, I think I play this one pretty well. And then there was a benefit. I don't know if you'll remember this,
I do remember.
but it might have. I don't know if it was like 8 years or so ago. And you're on the benefit too, and I do my thing, and then you come out, and I have no idea you're going to do this, and you start to say, "I'm going to play a Dylan tune," and you play "Buckets of Rain."
I remember that.
And I went home, and I destroyed my guitars, and then I fed my hands into a wood chipper because it made such a mockery of the one song I thought I could really play with like feeling, and I was like, oh. And it's that thing. I'm not even Salieri looking at Mozart in this. I'm a chamber pot looking at Salieri, who's looking at Mozart.
It didn't make you want to go home and get it more under your hands.
No,
it discouraged
I just
you.
understood that I am an ape who's on this earth for so much time, and there's no amount of time left where this ape is going to learn that. Do you know what I mean? I just understood.
I feel that way about so many things. I tried stand-up comedy, and I did the same thing. I go, why would I want to be the 33,000th best at something when I could devote all my energies to be, in the top?
Right.
In the conversation of the top something.
I don't know. I guess I feel like they're different. Maybe the grass is always greener, but the many times that I've watched you play and heard you play, and I've heard you in interviews sort of talk about like, I made a decision. I think you say you saw Michael J. Fox in Back to the Future, and you were like, okay, I guess I'll learn to do that. And I think, no, that's not how it happens. That is not you. There's something.
No, something else was there.
There's something in you clearly that isn't in other people, and so it was just very, in a way, it relaxed me because I thought, no, I play the guitar because I find it kind of calming for myself, and I try not to inflict it on too many other people. But no, I did not watch you and say, well, I better really get at it now.
Okay, so I have a story about the time I was relaxed the way you just explained it. I was at a restaurant one night, and I was at Craig's, not to brag. I was at Craig's. And
you got into Craig's?
I got into Craig's.
I keep trying. It's like you on this podcast. It just couldn't. They were like, absolutely not. But anyway, go ahead.
And Jeff Beck was in the room.
Oh, Jesus.
And I was relaxed. It's so funny to hear you say that. I went, oh, I don't have to think about how I play the guitar because the best is in the room. And it's not me.
In your mind, I
was comforted. I could finally quiet down this noise in my head I didn't know was there, which is the best in the room is sitting over there. And it doesn't have to maybe be me.
Can I ask you a question, which is, when did this sighting happen? I know Jeff Beck passed not too long ago.
No, it wasn't that long. It was probably 2018 or something.
See, this is something, I think some of this comes a little bit with getting a little older. You're still, in my book, an incredibly young person, but I think some of this came to me later. Meaning
some of what?
The ability to say, yeah, that person's just so amazing and I'm not going to worry about it.
Oh, I have that now.
I think that, I don't know that I had that in my 20s. I was so, teens and 20s, I was so hungry.
I was too.
And then there's this nice thing that comes later on. People malign getting old, and we have this whole culture that says, oh my God, that's terrible. And especially in comedy, I've turned 60 this year, and I'm starting to get in my head a little bit about it. And then I thought, oh no, I don't know. I do what I can. And there are so many people that are so great. And I'm excited when I see how great young people are. And when I'm around like a Martin Short, I relax because I go, okay, that's Martin Short. I'm no Martin Short. That's Martin Short.
I have that when I go to Hollywood parties, which I don't very often anymore. But I used to go to parties and see beautiful women and think to myself, I'd get discouraged. I'd get sad. I never even went up to them and I'd get sad. And now.
Get sad why?
I get sad because I'd be so desirous of their approval and their attention. I remember being so young, I'd want to leave. I don't even know what my expectation was, but it was to leave walking on air or something.
It's so
to have
funny.
everybody just sort of knight me or something at the party. And now I walk in, and I don't mean this in any sort of self-effacing way. I go, and it's freeing. They don't give a shit.
Right.
I say this, she doesn't give a shit. It's awesome because she doesn't, and that's great. So I don't even think about it. They don't care.
I have always felt sad for beautiful women because they don't get to be with me.
Oh, geez.
Because I'm taken. You know what I mean? And I know that.
I don't know what you mean.
Let me ask you a question.
Matt, let me just be really clear.
Please.
They'll go their whole lives and not know the orgasmic beauty
Oh, come on.
Okay.
of being with this spam skin skeleton.
I just have an issue with you and orgasmic beauty being in the same sentence.
Hello, my name is Jimmy Carr, and I feel contractually obliged about being Conan O'Brien's friend.
You know, that was an honest read. You are contractually obliged. You had to come here against your will. You
Yes.
didn't want to be anything to do with this podcast. You and I have long been enemies. We should just come out with that right now.
I think it's best for the listeners. Otherwise, they're just going to pick up this weird energy. But
Yes.
yes, we are foes. I'd
used
love to have a nemesis, wouldn't you?
You know what? I want to have.
No one's got a nemesis these
I
days.
want nemesis. I want more than one nemesis.
It feels like you were in a world, though. There was that period of late night,
Yes.
where it was possible to have. There were rivals
Yes!
in this late night world.
God bless you. Thank you.
That you did really have kind of a nemesis.
Yes. And now there's this. I talked to the other late night hosts. Of course, I got out of that game. But I talked to the other
You got
hosts.
out of it?
Yes.
Well, I mean, you were. Yeah. Okay. Let's let's go with that. Let's go with that. Look, it's your podcast.
When I say got out of it,
Yeah.
what I mean was
shortly after they asked you to leave, you left.
they edged me out. They squeezed me out.
yeah.
They said you're to be out of here within a month, or we're coming after you. We know some bad people. So yes, I was chased.
Kind of an incredible career in late night, though, because I remember that thing of like reading that book and being really excited about late night. Because for me, it's so glamorous and so far away. But we'd sort of read about it, and that idea that you were sort of doing it and you'd be put into this position as a writer, and then suddenly they'd seen something in you and gone, incredible sort of
Something
performer.
that you don't see that no one's seen since.
Yeah, it was just a flash for a second. We all saw some
Later,
color and
they
went,
put their glasses
"Hang
on. They
Hang on
put
a
their
second."
glasses on later and said, "Oh, we're sorry. We thought we saw something in you."
But it's an extraordinary thing because, and then that thing about you thought you were going to go after 2 weeks, and then it was 30 years later.
Yeah.
You're still a huge part of the culture. It's really exciting, that.
Well, thank you. I managed you backed into a compliment. I love it. Accidentally. You were backing up in a supermarket and you backed into a whole bunch of tomato cans of compliment sauce and toppled them over. But either way, you backed into a compliment, and I'll take it. James Algernon Carr.
We're going with Algernon, yeah.
I'm going to keep giving you different middle names.
Okay.
But
And they're all going to sound like a stomach issue.
No, but can I say something, Jimmy? There's this. You are correct. You're so wise. There was this era where all the late night hosts. We didn't call each other up. We didn't talk to each other. There were very few of us, and everyone had their little fiefdom, and we were constantly peering over our stone walls at each other.
Do you know what I find weird about that?
You're not allowed to talk on your interview.
It's the opposite of stand-up comedy. Alan
Yes.
Havey said this wonderful thing to me. He's an older guy. He was in Mad Men. You might have seen him. Grey-haired
Of course,
gentleman.
Alan Havey, very
He's
funny man.
Incredible. But he said this thing to me about comedy. He said, we're out for ourselves, but in it together.
Yes.
That stand-up world of going, you escape competition through authenticity.
Yes.
No one else can beat you at being you. And it strikes me that the late night hosts were all the same, and they just couldn't see that. No one had told them, oh, you can all be friends. There's nothing you can do that Letterman can do, and Jay Leno can't do what you do. And it was such a different skill set, but no one told you that. You could all be friends. You could have gone out for drinks every night.
Yeah, but it wouldn't have happened. The personalities were not such that people would be going out for drinks together. It was a different time, and I won't get into specifics, but it wasn't going to happen. Now, all I hear when I talk to these hosts is we just all went out to a cheesecake factory together and then high-five each other and split the bill evenly.
And they have a podcast together.
They did during the strike. They
right.
did. They're all chums. They all hang out together at the same spa and get rub downs together, which I find a little suspicious. Only I'm not having it.
Back when you were you were straight out of Hell's Kitchen. You were carrying a knife at all times.
Yes.
And yeah.
Yes, I was one of the plug uglies.
Yeah.
I was from a dangerous street gang.
How
in
did you
Hell's
get the
Kitchen.
job? You got jumped in to late night, right?
Yes.
You jumped in. You had to assault an older host.
Yes. I was walking down the street, minding my own business. A van pulls up, and a bunch of guys, and it really was like they had the little razors in their boyo caps.
Of course,
in
the
their
Peaky
baker
Blinders.
caps. Peaky
Yes.
Blinders, and they came out and they said, "Oh, late night show for you, eh? Don't be mad about my accent."
No, I love the accent. Very accurate.
Yes.
Those are my people.
Oh, yeah, we'll give you a nick, and then the next thing you know, I had a late night show.
Someone once told me how to. I'm Irish, obviously, as a UNN,
Which
sort
I
of
didn't
in
know.
a cultural appropriation way.
Yeah.
No,
you
my
grew
people.
up. You grew up in England, but
grew up
you
in
were
England, but I'm sort of first generation immigrant to England. So my parents were from Limerick, and then they moved to a place called Slough. So there's something about shit towns they very much enjoy from one to another. I got taught recently though. I got taught by how to do a proper Dublin accent.
Oh, you
Proper
did?
Dublin accent by Bono, no less. There's a name drop.
Oh, there you
so
go.
So you've just got to sound deaf. If you want to sound like you're from the north side of Dublin, just sound deaf. Tony, what's the Tony? I can hear you, but it doesn't sound like I can hear you. And you sound a little bit deaf, and that's very north side of Dublin. You're wrecking me buzz. And also, to pick up the phone, like real north side of Dublin, be story. No hello, no anything. Story.
Story.
What's the story?
You know what they also say in Dublin? I was just there. Fair play.
Oh, fair play to you. Yeah,
fair play to you
1500
means, and I was kind of trying to figure out what that means, but you'd say something like anything. I would just say, I thought it was going to rain, but it didn't, so I'll put my umbrella away.
Fair play to you.
Fair play to you.
Fair play
What
to
does
you,
that? What does that mean? Fair play.
It's
It sounds
just
like the
it's your
ball was.
life.
Oh, I guess. I don't
It's
know.
just a filler there.
I know.
Just,
Everyone's just trying to get to the grave.
yeah, what else? What else can they say?
I want to back up because so far we've talked a lot.
covered nothing.
We've said nothing, and I feel that that's on me, but also more on you, Jimmy. I want to instruct the listener right now that I had you on my late night program 7 times. You did stand up 7 times, and had you on a bunch because A, you were available, but B, I adored you. You're terrific. You have a terrific mind, and as you say, there was nobody like you. There is nobody like you. You have a very specific style. Great jokes, like little diamond nuggets. Your jokes. But then
I'll take it.
Your delivery.
Yes.
I always enjoyed your
I knew there'd be
delivery.
something.
No. I loved your delivery because you would deliver the joke, and then your head would slightly retreat, and you'd look around as if you weren't part of what you just said.
Yeah.
And it had this nice. I mean, I used to try and do you. You'd be on the show, and afterwards, I'd be for my writers trying to do Jimmy Carr because and I can't, but I'd say something. And then slightly retreat with wide eyes and look around as if you were innocent of what was just said.
And my friend Sean Locke always used to call me on that because I'd say something terrible, like a terrible joke, like awful, the worst thing you could think of about a dark subject matter. And then I'd look at the audience like, what? Why is everyone upset?
Yeah.
What? How could you? What? It wasn't me. What are you looking at?
I was in my flat having a bath. Why am I being? I said flat for your sake.
Thank you.
But that's apartment sona.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, anyway.
Oh, thank you.
So I was on the show 7 times and then it was cancelled. So we can link those 2 events.
I was not canceled.
What?
That's ridiculous.
What?
You don't have
How
your
dare
facts.
you?
No, you don't have your facts correct. So we can straighten that out later. But no one ever cancels Conan O'Brien.
Is it still on?
Which one? The TBS show? No. I.
Well, there you go then.
Oh, so you think because my show ended that it was canceled?
Yes.
How dare you?
I love it.
You love that, Sona?
I love that being the narrative.
All
Yeah.
right, well, you know what? I'm just going to go with it.
Yeah, you got canceled.
Yes, what happened was about 2.5 years ago, I started my conduct became very inappropriate on the air.
Okay.
Remember? I did
Well,
that show.
A lot of people haven't, spoken about this openly, but yes,
I did a show. We did a theme show where I wasn't wearing any clothes from the waist down.
You were
Yeah.
canceled in both ways, the
Yes.
show and as like socially as a human.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And 3 ways, because my wife refuses to even see me now. She looks past me and sees things. But no, listen.
This is how rumors start, by the way.
I know,
Yeah.
and this is your fault.
Someone's going to clip this up and go, do you know he was inappropriate on the...
I did 28 years in late night, and then I gracefully dismounted into this podcast, which you don't clearly seem to be aware. This is massive, this podcast. This is a massive podcast. Tell him.
It's all right.
He deflated you.
You would think more would go into it.
No. I found that by doing less, you do more. Yeah. The less you put into something, the more you get. That's what I figured out. I used to work so hard on those early late night shows. It was clearly I was wrong. This is the way to go.
I'm a big fan of that whole stoic thing of like doing less better.
Yes.
Just do one thing. What are you good at? You're good at talking. What's the podcast? It's just talking.
Just talking.
It's just that.
They gave me all this information on you. I haven't read it. I'm not even
I
quite.
can't read.
Or tell time.
They're just shapes to me.
You travel widely. You tour widely. Have you found a place where you felt, yeah, it doesn't work for me here, or it's not, the Jimmy Carr sensibility doesn't work here, or have you found that it's completely universal?
Pretty universal in terms of like, I think people that come and see me, it's
right.
self-selecting.
Self-selecting.
So very few people would come and buy a ticket to my show and go, oh my God, he's very rude, isn't he? Why is he so rude? Why is there so much filth in this? Why is he talking about all the worst things in the world? Why can't he be nice? He's got no singing voice. This is awful. They know what they're, at this point, they know what they've done a little bit of a Google and come along. I mean, I always think like a good proportion of my income, I should be very grateful for this, but a good proportion is people that have been dragged along by their other half.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what percent, I don't know, but there's a percentage of my audience every night that are, okay, I guess we went to the game on Saturday, so we're doing this for you now. Fine. No, he's fine. No, I really enjoyed it. Could have been shorter.
You know what I don't? I always
must
get haunted by this, but people always overshare, and I'm very fortunate to have many people tell me that they really enjoy my nonsense. But invariably, there's some proportion of those people who say, I mean, my wife, not a fan. And of course, I'm intrigued. Like, I want to talk to her. I don't want to talk to the guy that likes me. I'm more interested in talking to the person who's not. And
I talk to the person that doesn't like me a lot because they come up to me in the street constantly. A stream of people. Can I get a photo with you? My mum really likes you. My brother really likes you. Yes. My cousin is a huge fan. It's never them.
Yeah.
I've never met anyone who's a fan of me. It's always someone in an airport going, can I get a picture with you?
Yeah.
Apparently you're famous. Come here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jesus.
Well, if I have to explain I'm famous, then I guess I'm not. I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
You came up to me.
But at least they don't tell you they actively dislike you. Those are the people I'm interested in. I want to talk to them. Matt, let's talk.
Let me get my notes out.
Then you pull out a giant tome of reasons I hate Conan. Now, okay, we live obviously in a very sensitive era, and this has not deterred you in any way. You like to walk that line. I don't know if that's intentional, but
it's just my sense of humor.
It's your sense of humor.
I slightly think it's that thing where you go, if you think about friendship, right? What is friendship? It's someone you talk to with no filter. That your best friend is a person with the least amount of filter, and work colleagues like these guys, huge filter, right?
Actually, shockingly, no.
Yeah.
There's really no filter here.
I don't know. I don't think we.
Sona, I don't think Sona and I have any filter.
No.
We've known each other many years.
Well, that thing though, that thing of like how you make, that's how I gauge friendship. And I kind of think with stand-up comedy, you go, when the audience come to see you, you're acting like a friend. So there's different ways to do that. There's some people that are incredibly open and honest about their lives and just let you in, and that's one kind of way to, demonstrate friendship. But some people just say anything they think is funny, and they don't think, oh, maybe the audience won't be able to get this, maybe they won't understand it's a joke. And I like to just go, well, this is what I think's hilarious. It's a weird thing. I think comedians are showbiz adjacent. A friend said this to me recently. You know Robbie Williams, the singer? Mm-hmm. Really nice guy. And he said, I'm an entertainer in the true sense. If you don't love me, I don't love me. Which I found heartbreaking. Yeah. And I thought, well, comedians haven't got that. Comedians, like, we desperately want to be loved entirely on our own terms.
Yeah.
It's that weird thing if you go, I'm going to say this unsayable thing. I mean, the cancel culture thing is like, it's very fun for journalists to write about, but it's not real, is it? I mean, you can, all sort of the biggest comics in the world are saying, outrageous things, but it's just that thing that comedy has a role to play. That's what it's meant to do, I think. And whether it's pushing it in terms of subject matter or level of intimacy or what you can talk about, that Overton window of what you can and can't talk about shifts through time. So actually there's stuff like mine, outrageous jokes, but there's also people opening up about their lives. Using Mark Maron and Hannah Gadsby and people talking about their experiences. And that's another way it's opening up and expanding. So it's, I don't know, I think it's
funny.
I never think it's a problem.
I've had people approach me on the street, actually not too far from our studio here, literally like a block south of here. Someone rode up to me on a bicycle and he was lamenting, and he wanted to, I think, connect with me. He's just like, man, Conan, isn't it tough? The cancel culture. I mean, guys like you can't say anything anymore. And I thought, that's just not true. I don't believe that's true.
No,
it's I don't feel that there's things that I want to say that I can't say.
There's a weird thing going on though, where there's a little bit of, in the wider world outside of comedy, there is a thing, there's preference falsification going on now. So
say that again.
Preference falsification.
It just sounded pretty. I just wanted to hear.
Okay.
No. I
You know what I mean?
I don't know what you mean by preference falsification.
So if you look at opinion polls now, they don't work as well as they did 10 years ago. So there's a thing where people know what the right thing to say is, but and cancel culture, there's nothing from above, right? There's no authoritarian leader telling us what we can and can't say. And really, you look at the world now and you go, the basket of things that you cannot say is so much smaller than it was 20 years ago. Mm-hmm. You didn't. There was blasphemy. You look at George Carlin, 7 things you couldn't say on TV. You can say anything now. It's open. The issue now is kind of self-censorship. Is the idea that people feel like, well, I don't want to say the thing. So I think there's a cathartic element to coming to see a comedy show, because you go, oh, this guy doesn't seem to give a fuck. He's saying whatever he wants. And that, I think it engenders, I think people have very interesting conversations afterwards where they feel a bit looser.
Yeah.
I think with all comedy shows, actually, I think it doesn't matter whether, edgy, not edgy, it doesn't really make any odds. I think it's just, it puts people in a state of, okay, this is fun. We can laugh at stuff.
I think if someone's being intelligent and honest and they've crafted their work, I don't know what subject they can't bring up. I may not like all of it, but it feels to me that I think a lot of it is, do I trust the person who's up here talking? Are they intelligent? Do they, in general, like humanity or inclined to like humanity somewhat? Do they have antipathy? Are they malicious? And
what's the intention? I mean, let's face facts. Intention and context mean a lot. Mm-hmm. There's a big difference between being homeless and camping. Mm-hmm. Okay, but you can sort of do a journalistic article where you pretend you don't realize that and just say, well, he said this thing. This is a statement of fact, rather than realizing it was a joke and the audience laughed and they all knew. People laugh at the wrong thing because they know what the right thing is.
Yep.
It's interesting. My theory is comedians leak. I think they leak. I think you watch someone do one-liners for an hour, and weirdly, I've said nothing about myself and given everything away. People know who I am.
Yeah.
They have a sense of, okay, that's fine. And it's that equal opportunities offender thing of just going, well, if I hear everyone, then no one feels like they're being got. But I don't even agree with the language that's sometimes used, that idea of punching down. That people kind of, you're punching down. You go, sorry, you think there's people below me? What? What now? I'll stop you there. Who's below me then? Who? No, give me the list. Who's below me? I mean, obviously, I'm a cis heterosexual male. So who's under me in your hierarchy of humans?
I've really enjoyed your stand-up. Had you on the show many times, and you've made these programs for Netflix, these stand-up specials. I believe, is this correct, that you were the first?
I think the first UK. UK
comedian.
They were just kind of expanding. I mean, the incredible thing about Netflix is it really has been, stand-up's very new anyway, really as a medium. And it's a great American medium. If you think about what America's given the world, jazz, the Western, stand-up comedy. And stand-up comedy was the last of them. It was really, I think you can obviously trace it back to trickster gods back in ancient times, but really Carlin and Pryor are the kind of where most people go to. And then you go, they were John the Baptist, and then everyone since has just been standing on their shoulders.
Yes.
And it's a very exciting medium. And then Netflix came along, and thanks to Ted Sarandis and his kind of love of stand-up, it feels like the world now has opened up. Like, I've done 45 countries on the tour. It's incredible. Like, you go anywhere in the world, and English has become, I think people speak better English now because of YouTube and Netflix than they ever used to. I've really noticed a difference. It's extraordinary, really. It's a great time to be in stand-up.
I will tell you that I hear this a lot. You've been with me when I've heard this, when we travel around. I don't know if you've heard it as well, Blake, but many people, when I've traveled and done specials around the world and shot things around the world, people will tell me, I learned English by watching you on the late night show, I always think A, massive mistake, but B, that there is something. I mean, you think about all the countries that listened to. They listened to the blues, and then they listened to R&B. They listened to R&B records, and in England, the whole idea of waiting for merchant ships to come in and then trying to trade the sailors to get a 45 to listen to what's all this Elvis Presley stuff, because no one was hearing on the BBC.
Yeah.
There's this cultural exchange that happens, and one of the things that I love about streaming is I watch a lot of UK comedians now. I watch comedians actually from all over the world now, but I also watch television shows, mysteries. I'm very happy to watch shows that aren't even in English.
It is kind of extraordinary, that thing that's happened, which I don't think anyone in media saw coming. No one saw podcasts coming. No one thought podcasts were going to be a huge thing, that there was a gap in the market, because people's attention spans, you talk to most people, they go, people's attention spans are getting shorter, and it's all about TikTok. And you go, yeah, for nonsense, it's shorter, but for good stuff, it's longer.
Right.
If there's Game of Thrones and it's 60 hours long, you go, or Breaking Bad, yeah, great. I'll watch 60 hours of that. I've got a huge attention span for it because it's brilliant. Or a podcast where people are having a long conversation, you feel engaged. It's fantastic.
Well, the other thing is that for all those years that you would come on my show and do stand-up, I loved it, but I never got to know you. And what I enjoy so much about this format, after doing, I loved the other format. Until, of course, in your vernacular, I was chased out. But
Me Too. Let's just call it Me Too.
yeah,
Great.
Let's call it Me Too and just get it done and get it out there.
Sona, was it you?
Yeah, it was me.
Yeah,
and then
you're
you
still
working with them?
Sona blew us. Yeah. Well, hey, it's a good living.
I talked to every single outlet. I was like, he's a monster. He's awful.
She's the only person who called in a Me Too and then continued to work for me and got a raise.
Yeah.
Incredibly handsy.
Yeah.
He was in the executive washroom,
but
touching
in-
genitals.
In my defense,
His own, but still.
I'm very
A
handsy,
disgrace.
but primarily with myself.
Yeah.
I'm constantly all over me. And
That's somehow worse.
And I've had it with this. I've had it with this treatment.
You Me Too
I got a
yourself.
restraining order against myself.
You got an eye too.
Yeah. I got I too. I didn't get to do this with you. You did panel on the show once, which I thoroughly enjoyed, but we never could have done this.
But isn't that a wonderful thing that you kind of go, it's a different format, and it's more, I think it's kind of more authentic. I mean, the great thing about late night, it's such a perfect medium. It's so American. It's so kind of glamorous to me to go on those shows. It's such a privilege to do them. But it's that thing. I'm quite close with James Corden and Ben Winston, who produces him. And you kind of go, chatting to those guys, you realize late night talk shows, the kind of the whole thing is, let's try not to have a conversation. Let's keep the games going and something else happening, rather than actually, you don't want to have a late night discussion program. Whereas it's all about conversation. It's lovely.
Yeah, and what I have found is when I talk to people, come up to me all the time, and not just in the United States, but around the world, and they'll tell me, "Oh, I was just listening to you on the podcast." And they really have a flavor for my relationship with Sona and with Matt, and they can kind of. I mean, I'll hear about.
They
this.
can sense you hold them in contempt. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, I am
That comes across.
contemptuous.
Yeah.
Yes,
Oh, definitely.
Yes.
Very
Yes.
Day one.
open
Yeah.
about it.
Well, please.
Yeah.
Come on.
Will you help me?
I don't know how I can. I'm seeing Mark Maron later on. Are you being kept for parts? It feels.
Can you smuggle me out of here?
It feels like it's like Mark Maron's just got you sort of. You're just holding some kidneys for if anything
by.
happens.
Yeah.
He is here because I need a spleen, and you know what? He was hired because he's a direct blood match for me.
Yeah.
So this is basically an
I'm
organ
just
bag.
all stem cells.
This is my
He's all stem cells.
Yeah.
this is my organ bag. Matt Gourley. And organ bag Matt Gourley. Matt, how are you? How are you feeling, by the way, Matt? I get very upset when he goes out drinking because those are my organs he's fucking
I'm
with.
trying to kill you.
Come on.
Okay, I must know more about you because I'm curious. A lot of my favorite people in comedy, it's rare that I talk to somebody who I really like, who just knew when they were very young and got started very young. A lot of us, myself included, we were interested in it but didn't quite know how to attack it. You were a bit of a late bloomer.
I think, for comedy, I didn't start comedy till I was about maybe 25, 26.
Yeah.
And so I had a proper job first, which it's very useful in show business. I think if you go straight from school into showbiz, then it's very difficult to be grateful. It's very difficult to appreciate how great it is.
Right.
And how fun life is just kind of messing around.
And your previous job was working for
An oil company,
like
a big oil company, So that was good.
Yeah.
That was good.
You've never looked back once. You're never tempted
Those
to go...
guys, they're still doing great, right? I haven't looked in on them recently,
Can
but I
ask you
imagine they're
something?
doing great.
Can I ask you something?
Until Mother Earth says her safe word, we can keep screwing her, right? Is that not right?
Oh no!
I don't know much about environmentalism, but I know a thing or two about BDSM, and I'm pretty sure.
I'm picturing now Earth with a ball gag in its mouth.
Oh no!
Until Earth says its safe word. We're going to take it right up to the line. Well, I think we did that a while ago.
Came to it late. I think the thing with comics, I mean, I don't know what your go-to is. When I meet sort of comics that I've met before, if we're in a car ride or whatever, green room, my question is always, which of your parents was sick? Mm-hmm. I always think there's one parent that was either physically or mentally sick, and you had to be the thermostat for mood. Mm-hmm. And then the pathology of most comedians I know, and most comedians that I love, is they have to be able to change the thermostat. Mm-hmm. Of mood in a room, because really when you think about what we do in a room is you come in and you change we're drug dealers, we're your dopamine and serotonin. Those are the two drugs we're dealing in. So that constant surprise, if you don't quite know where the joke is coming, there's a joke, but you don't know when, and then the serotonin of the feel good. It's great, and they'll never take me alive because the drugs are already on you.
Right. To me, it's I wouldn't. Sick is a big word. And so I don't know if I'd be prepared to say that in my experience, but what I will say is that there's a sensitivity to wanting everyone in the room to be okay. And as you say, being the thermostat, so if something's off or if someone's unhappy or if there's any sort of, repeated unhappiness that runs along, you want to try and lift that mood. So that's where it's a little bit of it's a magical trick, because you
can't see that. Because even when you sort of slow down there, it's a really interesting thing that you have.
Yeah.
This ability to do that, where it's that kind of classic thing of like, what do you find easy that everyone else finds difficult? Most people in the world find that incredibly difficult.
Right.
And you just have a natural ability to walk into a room and go, oh, we're on. I'll just light this up.
Yeah.
It's extraordinary, and it's weird, and very few people have it. And it took you a while to find, well, what's the way for me to do this?
And if you're like me, I've talked about this, but I knew that I could do that fairly young as a kid, that I could do that and I could make my friends laugh. And if someone was sad, I could lighten the mood. And if there was tension, I could break the mood and make everybody happy. Never thought that could be connected to a career, ever. I didn't think the two could be linked.
Yeah, I mean, I think that thing of like,
who thinks it can be a career?
If you don't know anyone in show business as well, your sort of childhood, you go, well, those are magical people on the TV. Right. That's a different, I don't know how that happens.
No, it's like saying your aspiration is to be in the royal family. That doesn't happen. Those are people that live in another world. That's how I looked at it as well. You said, I remember when I got a job as a comedy writer when I was quite young, thinking, well, I can't do this because I can be funny, but I don't know how to write comedy. And having to think about it for a really long time, really think about it, and repeatedly try it and make mistakes in order to realize, no, there is a way to take this thing that I do naturally and make it into words. But it was not...
It's interesting though, isn't it? Because we live I think stand-up is very new. I'm kind of working on a thing at the moment. I'm working on a book about this because it strikes me that music has a language, right? Music is, everyone knows how to read music. You could go from here to Lagos in Nigeria and you could have a musician and they could play together with written music. There's nothing in comedy. Comedy is like, it's trying to turn sort of alchemy into science. and the idea of going, well, there are different kind of joke types, and you sort of stumble across it, but you have to find your own way. Everyone getting into comedy has the same story as us of kind of having a machete and getting through the jungle, and I found this path, and I managed to make it through, and I'm very happy I did. But it feels like you need a highway. It feels like it'd be better if people kind of knew how to write jokes. And there's a lot of kind of hucksters out there trying to sell something and they've got no idea how to do it.
Yeah, I've always been suspicious of the idea that it can be taught. I've always really
again, that's the magical sort of, I don't want to, it's unconscious competence. So you have this incredible ability and you're not quite sure how you do it. But I don't think you being able to read music would take away from your innate ability. I think it would just, it would be, you'd be able to focus it maybe a bit easier.
Right.
But I don't think it would take any of the magic away. In the same way as musicians, some musicians can't read music. I mean, I think Paul McCartney didn't learn how to read or write music until he was in his 50s or 60s. And then it didn't take anything away. He's still able to, he's still got a way with a tune.
He writes jingles now for commercials.
I wondered what happened to him.
Yeah, just for the money. He needs the money.
Yeah, sure.
But
he's an older guy.
No, but I think there's a lot to it, which is it always has to be play. It has to be fun. There has to be a sense of play. And whenever I sense I'm trying to think of comedy and it's getting morose or it's feeling like a term paper, I've got to walk away from it and then reapproach it. Yeah. Because it comes from...
Well, that's the flow state. That's the kind of place where you want to be, where you kind of go, well, if you can do a job where you're in a flow state, that's fantastic. Where you're not aware of time and you're messing around and you're giggling and it's exciting.
Well, that's the best.
That's great.
The best is, and I'm sure, is just being in front of people, and it's supposed to be your job, and you're just screwing around and amusing yourself, and everyone's with you and enjoying it, and you're all in the same place.
Yeah,
that's. I mean, to me, that's magical. That's the high.
I think I go back to kind of the Chuck Close, the American artist, the Pointillist. He used to say, inspiration is for amateurs. The rest of us go to work. Mm-hmm. So I think there's something of that of like when it can be play and finding it in the moment is beautiful.
Oh, but you have to do a ton of work to get there.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's the inspiration is the reward for turning up every day.
Yeah.
We went serious there, didn't we?
Yeah.
No, don't worry. We'll take all that out. We're going to just put, after you're gone, I'm going to do 20 minutes of berating you, and that will be inserted. And we'll just use defensive squeaks for your voice.
Okay.
And people will say, well, Conan really got the best of Jimmy there, didn't he?
Yeah. Yeah. If you're interested, the insertion was the reason he was Me Too'd.
Attempted it.
Yeah.
So you're 25. That's when you start, and your style is these. As I said, you love one-liners, and you love. There are comedians that tell stories. They find their way to the laughs here and there on their journey, and that is not you.
No, I was always my love language is the one-liner.
Yeah,
I'm trying to develop something. I mean, in the new special, I'm trying to develop some longer stories and some because I've got a good fastball, but I don't have much in the bag. I wanted to kind of develop a little bit, so I really kind of made a decision a couple of years ago. Try different things. I try different styles, try and mix it, which I've kind of done a little bit. But I was very influenced by Stephen Wright and Emo Phillips and Rita Rudner and all those kind of great gag to gag comics. And I think there's something. I don't know. I think there's something wonderful about that. You're not wasting anyone's time.
Oh my God!
Stage.
I mean, I
You're
remember
just
being in
knocking out the hits, laugh to laugh.
When I was a teenager and seeing Stephen Wright, and he comes from Boston, which is where I'm from, and just the jokes, they felt like little jewels. Like they were dense and they were so smart, and he would just keep handing them out, and you felt like this guy is holding a sack of rubies, and he just keeps taking them out and passing them to the audience. That's how it felt to me.
Yeah, I remember seeing him live, just being blown away by
the power of his intellect, and then his delivery was so self-assured and also very much nothing special happening here. I'm just a guy talking.
Yeah,
and then these amazing. So he influenced you.
Oh, Emo Phillips as well. I don't think gets
great.
Quite. Emo, I think, was bigger in the UK in the 80s than he was here. He was quite a big deal.
Yeah,
he was great. Yeah, but then I loved all the stuff like Billy Connolly, I love Bill Hicks, but in the end, your sense of humor chooses you. I think what you laugh at is it's very exposing. And I like kind of dark stuff, and I like short one-liners, and that's what I can kind of go to very easily. But it's weird. You don't like if I was making a plan at the beginning of my career, I would have been a storyteller because I only need 5 ideas to fill an hour. Brilliant.
Right.
It would have been much more cost effective.
Right.
Whereas I'm running about 300 jokes in an hour. It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Although, it's easier to build from Lego than marble. Let's call it what it is.
Also easier to change your mind. You just detach that piece, the yellow piece, and put in the blue piece.
Well, it's a lot of kind of beta testing. It's a lot of, in my act, it's a lot of beta. Oh, is that word better than that word? Well, I'll try it a different way tonight, different way tonight, different way tonight. Trying new stuff all the time. So you're constantly kind of writing.
So now we get to this other issue, which is you do a Netflix special. I imagine because of the quality and density of the jokes in your act, you do the special. And unlike 70 years ago, when you could then tour with that act for 15 years on vaudeville, or actually some people would have a really good hour and a half and they would, or hour and 15 minutes, and they would tour with it for 50 years.
Yeah.
Because that was their act.
There's an amazing footage of like these guys called Morecambe and Wise.
Yes, I know Morecambe and Wise. Yeah.
UK double act, and it's them at the Croydon Fairfield Halls where I get to play, and it's them doing their hour. And they never put it on TV. They were huge TV stars, and they never put it on TV. They just recorded it once. It's like one shot of them doing it, but it's a perfect vaudevillian hour.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous. No, I mean, as soon as the Netflix thing drops, I've got one day off, and then I start the new tour.
Okay, so this is what's incredible is you do the Netflix thing, and then that's out, and people watch that. Then there's the sense that, is there the sense that I have got to reinvent the wheel now? Because
but that's the stoic thing. You do it every night. Every night of the tour, at the end of 90 minutes, I pull out a piece of paper from my pocket. I think I've got the one from last night with new jokes written on it, and I try the new jokes.
Great.
And so every night you try new stuff, and then so at the end of a year, let's say you do 10 jokes a night, and half of them work. Well, at the end of the year, you have the new show, and then you sort of retry them and beta test or whatever, and you're building up. Then obviously you do a couple of previews where you put it all in a row and see, does it make sense, and are there too many things that are similar or whatever. But
do you have
there.
jokes that you tell that don't work, but you enjoy them, so you keep them in?
I've got not much. I think I'm in the service industry.
And ultimately, we all are. But we all are.
I'm just not sure what the service is here.
We're called Time Wasters Incorporated. We're here to waste an hour of your fucking time, Jimmy.
To get you to the grave.
But that thing of like
everyone leaves this podcast calling their representation. What was that? I'm a busy man.
What a waste of time.
He used to be on the telly. See, I did that for you as well. But now he's on the talkie.
Maybe we should record this at double speed. A lot of people listen at double speed. I think we should start recording in double speed.
Oh my God.
What was I talking about? Gags? I don't know. So testing. I write some things, and I suppose it's that thing though. The audience is a genius. Lenny Bruce said that first, I think. Yep. And the audience tell you what is and what isn't funny, and what is and what isn't acceptable. And you tell the joke, and sometimes an audience just stares back at you and it's nothing. Right. It's very rare you can rescue one of those. Sometimes you tell a joke and it just gets a laugh. Like it's B material. It's kind of nothing. It's never going to make it onto a special or into a tour. It's fine. It's joke shaped, but nothing special. If you really love it, then you go away and you change it and you change it and you change it until eventually it gets a big laugh. But then it's a different joke.
Right.
But somehow you feel like, oh, well, it's kind of connected to the thing I
knew there
love.
was something there. Yeah.
Sometimes it comes back years later. Sometimes it's just, it's part of a bigger routine. It's a weird thing with when you do wordplay or puns or something. If you just do one, it's kind of okay. If you do two, fine. If you do three, it's an applause break. If you do sort of three in a row, because it's a sort of a feat. So sometimes it's like putting those things together where you've kind of thought of it, it's fine, but actually together with something else, it'll work.
You have to be cognizant of so much material when you're doing your act. Do you ever find yourself not knowing, wait a minute, I don't know? Because
Constantly.
Because I don't know which one goes here, because if you do 300 jokes and you're at number 211.
I tell you what the killer is, 2 shows a night.
Yeah.
The killer is 2 shows a night, because halfway through the second show and someone's just heckled and you've dealt with that, and then you go, the hell am I talking about? Where are we? I can't remember what city I'm in. Never mind what joke I'm on.
Right.
And that, I would say,
Then
4 seconds of panic is a lifetime. And then obviously you remember.
Yeah.
You're always fine, but there's like a moment of oh, here we are.
I have had that moment. I know exactly where I was. I was at the Beacon Theater because I was just back there, and this was a number of years ago, and things were going great. But at one point, I absolutely forgot not only where I was in my act, but why I was, who I was, am I dressed? I mean, everything just went away, and I remember
This is your DMT story.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then,
So why did I lick the back of a frog before walking on stage? What was I thinking? That's not my pre-show ritual.
I thought I'd try a new ritual. I didn't know it was that kind of frog. And so but what happens is you almost feel like you've drifted out of your body, but then you realize I can't. There's so many people here watching. There's 2,000 people here watching, whatever it is. I need to get back in there and figure this shit out. So you go through this whole journey and you do it. And then I realized later on, if you were watching in the audience, you're watching 3 seconds. But to me, it felt like this journey to get back into myself.
It's interesting, that thing of like it's a lovely experience as well to be on stage and to be sort of that present. You sometimes have a moment like that, but it's kind of fine. It's interesting, that thing of like, it's a very unique experience always kind of being on stage. I mean, people sort of go, I do a lot of dates on the tour, and people sort of go, you get bored of it or whatever, but it always feels different. You get to travel, you get to go to different places, the different audience, it feels different every show. So it's kind of that, it's like a unique experience. And I always think like people don't want more time. They want more memories.
Yes.
And actually doing this sort of job, you meet interesting people, you chat to interesting people. It's always kind of a bit different. It's good for that, I think.
So I had this great treat yesterday, which is I'm told I get to see an advance copy of Idea Man, which is a Jim Henson Idea Man. And I have a lot emotionally invested in this film because I have my own Jim Henson connection. And I watched the film, and it's fantastic. It's a fantastic documentary. There are so many things I learned about Jim Henson that I did not know. Jim Henson, I didn't realize his background growing up in this Christian Science.
Yes.
His mom's a Christian scientist.
His mom's a Christian scientist.
Yeah.
And he wasn't formally, because he
Right.
wasn't all that religious. But of course, he was raised in that environment. But he was creative. He was smart, and he wanted to express himself. And his dad was a bit of a scientist, like an agricultural scientist. And so they would travel around to different parts of the country, a lot of it in the South. And but Jim, was looking for that kind of breakthrough. But it was a moment of transformation, and he seized that opportunity. But it's interesting that he wound up grabbing, an ancient art form.
Yes.
And elevating it. When I was a kid sitting around, we were talking about the Andy Griffith Show. A lot of the character actors who would come on that show would be bitching and moaning because radio was dead.
Yeah.
Or vaudeville had gone. And yet we all know that those mediums didn't vanish. There isn't a vaudeville circuit per se, but there's stand-up, there's Cirque du Soleil, there's, the art forms are as relevant as ever. And I think you're so right, Conan. I mean, I just think creative people figure out a way.
They find a way. And what's fascinating to me is, so Jim Henson is very interested in puppets, puppeteering. And one of the things that he wants to do early on is, and I hadn't thought of this before, but it's in your documentary, a lot of puppeteering was done just in kind of a wide shot, where you see
with the theater, with curtains,
proscenium and
yes,
little curtains, and the characters are all bashing each other, and things are happening. I don't know if it's Jim Henson or his wife Jane, but they understand that the camera has to be right up. The TV camera has to be right up against the puppets,
right?
Muppets, and that you can see their expressions, and you can see a character deflate. And what's really fascinating to me is you have access in the documentary to all that early footage. It's long before it's very sophisticated.
Right.
It's basically Kermit, but they don't know it's Kermit yet.
Right.
But the kind of the puckering of the mouth
Yes.
when there's a little bit of uncertainty and the looking to the side
Yeah.
and then the maybe looking back at the camera, all that stuff is there, and it's in close up, and they're looking at what basically looks like a kinescope. Like the technology is very crude,
Right.
but you can see, oh my God, this
they're
guy.
looking at the monitor and sort of seeing, well, where is the camera and where do I fit in? And but the timing on this stuff was just fantastic. We interviewed Frank Oz, who's, gave the family was great. They made the archives available, but also they made themselves available in a really significant way. And they're storytellers themselves, and so they recognize the need to share what they understood about their parents, in a dimensional way, and so that was incredibly valuable. But Frank was there side by side, and he gave so much to the movie through his interview. In fact, stylistically, I tried to sort of channel Jim Henson and that aesthetic. A lot of stop motion, a lot of very kinetic cutting, and
Some animation,
beats,
yes,
some animations and things like that. And the idea sort of stemmed first from me watching a lot of Jim's experimental movies that had nothing to do with puppets,
which I didn't know about, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, me neither. Yeah. And they're cool, and in fact, they anticipate a lot of what you're going to eventually see in commercials or even music videos, right? I mean, there were kind of Hard Day's Night and stuff like that, So Frank, we did the interview, and I just had this idea. We did it in a cube because one of his experimental TV shows was called The Cube. And it's like a human being trapped sort of just with himself and his ideas and thoughts. So we decided to have the interview subjects be in a cube. It also would allow us to use those cubes. They're almost like television sets, to keep putting a lot of visual imagery in there and keep telling this story of Jim and the Muppets. But we did Frank's interview. It was very moving, very informative, very funny. And I said, Frank, what if we did what if your entrance into the set, we were going to have you just come and sit down, but what if we did it stop motion? And he, of course, instantly knew what to do. So we put the camera up high. We had a chair kind of squiggle in, come in and stop. Yeah. And he went in perfectly, one take, laid out all the steps and all the beats so that we could do it. And it just established immediately for the editors and myself that, we were gonna inform this movie with this kind of aesthetic.
Well, also, you were having fun.
Yes.
So you're making a documentary about this great artistic genius and his work, but you're also making sure that you're leaving room for fun, which is the essence of Jim Henson.
Yes.
And, my connection to it was that my whole reason I'm in comedy is I was always interested in comedy and doing it for my friends. And then I decide I need to be serious. So I go to a serious college, which turns out to have this very old humor magazine in it as part of it, the Harvard Lampoon. I get on the Lampoon, and almost immediately, the person who's put in charge of it, the first woman to ever be put in charge of it, is Lisa Henson.
Oh.
And so then she's my boss. I'm working for Lisa Henson. And then every now and then Jim Henson's around, and I'm losing my mind.
Wow, I bet.
And he could not have been a sweeter, nicer man. And in fact, Lisa graduates. I take over the Lampoon. And at one point, Jim Henson calls me and says, "Hey, we just finished The Dark Crystal, and we have these thrones that the creatures sit on in the Dark Crystal. Do you guys want one for your Lampoon building?" And you've never heard me say yes to anything more quickly.
That's amazing.
And so I said, "Yes, how do I make this happen?" Because I'm just still a kid. Right. I'm like 19, and I'm going, "Yes, Mr. Henson. So what do I?" And he said, and it's funny because when you're talking to Jim Henson, you're talking to Kermit.
Kermit, kind of, yeah.
So Kermit's on the other end of the line saying, "Well, just get a van and come on down to New York and pick it up, you idiot." And I'm like, "Okay, Kermit and Henson, bye." So I hang up the phone. We rent a van, and my friend Mark Gannam and Maya Williams, we jump in this van. And we drive down to Manhattan, and I'm petrified because I'm like, "We're driving to Manhattan." Suddenly, it's like a Muppet movie, and I'm kind of a Muppet, and I'm going, "What's happening?" And then we get to the
day out.
Yeah, exactly. I'm Beaker, and we get there, and sure enough, there's like Snuffleupagus is hanging from the ceiling, and they say, oh yeah, here's the chair. It's made of, it's not that heavy because it's made of this super light material. We carry it like a jewel. And
It's amazing.
We put it in the back
I've
of the
sat
van.
in one of those chairs at their, at the studio.
And I drove it all the way back to Cambridge, and we put it in the Lampoon building. So cut to, I don't know, like maybe 9 months ago, I'm in Cambridge, and a student comes up to me and says, hey, by the way, Conan, I'm on the Lampoon. Do you want to come by? And I went, yeah, sure. I haven't been there in a long time. So I go by, and there's the chair.
Oh, my
Great.
God.
Little banged up.
Yeah.
Because they drink. I mean, the puppets drank. Yeah. It was that way when we got it.
You've been in comedy for so long, but your DNA never merged with Saturday Night Live, and then you get this gig to play Tim Waltz during the run-up to the election. And so suddenly you're in the world of SNL, and it was kind of interesting to me because I thought, I want to get Jim's take on SNL because he's a really smart, funny guy, and I know that was something that would, everyone wants to check that bucket list off.
Absolutely.
So what was that like for you?
It was really interesting because that is one of the questions that, I've been doing stand-up or in the comedy thing for 35 years, and I never auditioned for SNL. I've never hosted, and it's just, it never lined up where it was a possibility. I think there was talk of me auditioning to be a writer, but at that time I was like, no, I want to be an actor. I want to be on the West Wing. And so I was
terrible instincts. Why Rob Lowe? What's he got that I don't got?
No, obviously it is this, it's the ultimate graduate school of comedy, right? To go there's nothing that it's unique to the comedy business. I mean, it's a unique television show in that they've, outside of Living Color and Mad TV, no one's even come close to replicating it. Probably financially doesn't make sense. And it's the impact on the zeitgeist. So it was a huge thing. I've always been aware that it's something that you don't campaign for.
Yep.
And so I'm respectful of the boundaries and kind of the cultural phenomenon that it is. So when she picked Tim Walz as her running mate, and then Steve Martin turned it down. The internet was bringing up like every doughy white Midwestern guy, and I was like interested, but I was like, well, I'm not. You can't campaign for it.
Yep.
You can't.
You either get the call or you don't.
Yeah, you can't be like, hey, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to go on Howard Stern and do my Tim Walz impression. You can't do that, right? And so I very much stood back. And then I would check in with my manager who would say, here's what they're thinking, but you're supposedly on a list. And again, there's nothing you can do on it. And so then I was in, I get one acting job a year. So I was in England doing this acting job. And at night I'm walking back to my hotel, and I get a call from my manager, and he's like, hey, so we've been telling people at the booker at SNL that you've been sending us little videos where you're pretending to be Tim Walz. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. And he goes,
and you weren't.
And I wasn't. and so he was on with my manager and my agent. I'm like, oh, well, that's an interesting approach. But, this is what you guys do. And they're like, yeah, and now they want to see those. And I'm like, so what do you mean they want to see them? I'm like, well, we brought it up. And now they're like, why don't you send them
I'd be
over?
mad at this management team.
Then I spent the next hour kind of in my hotel room, taking off a jacket, putting on a thing, doing different. And I had kind of been, checking out Tim Walz and looking at speeches. And then in that moment, I just did an impression of my brother Mitch, who is this, similar to Tim Walz, a very sincere, enthusiastic Midwestern guy who's kind of got a little bit of that golly gee. And so I essentially did an impression of my brother Mitch in a different settings in this England hotel, sent him off, and then, I don't know what happened, but it worked.
They hired your brother Mitch.
Yeah. So when people are like, how do you do that impression? I'm like, well, just don't meet my brother Mitch, and we should be fine.
Yeah. Grow up in Indiana.
Yeah, grow up in Indiana. Surround yourself with very sincere, Midwestern people that have that optimism that Tim Walz has, which is like, we can do this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, geez, come on, Jimmy. Like that's my brother Mitch. I mean, geez, Jimmy, God. I mean, Jimmy, you're a bad driver. Like my brother Mitch would just get so angry when I would drive.
He's even sweet when he's telling you bad things about yourself.
Yes, he's like a great guy. So that's what happened. But it was absurd because not only was I this opportunity to be on SNL, and it was just for 5 weeks, but then they bring in all these all-stars, right? So they bring in Maya, who I had worked with before, Dana and Andy, and I'm like, so not only am I doing this guest star, but like the MVP from every decade for the last 40 years. So it was stressful in an unnecessary way, where it's like, I go on stage in front of huge rooms, but I was like, I have 2 lines. How do I do it? Yeah. So I was definitely a little nervous.
Yes. There's something about, I think it's easier if someone said to me, you've got to go out there and just talk for 40 minutes, I wouldn't be as nervous as if they said, okay, you've got this one line you have to say.
Absolutely.
Did you like the machinery of it being around? Because there's nothing else like it.
Yeah.
And I've always thought there is the carnival atmosphere of it, the machine aspect of it. It's Willy Wonka's factory. It's all these things that you grew up watching, and then suddenly you're inside it. And then there's the build up to the show.
Yeah.
There's the meeting between Dress and Air, and then after the show, there's a party. It's this whole Roman kind of crazy. It's like the Colosseum followed by the orgy. You're just, what's happening? This is madness.
It is. It's insane every step of the way. So I remember I did the table read the first week. I guess that's on Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, all right, I know and I know that there's going to be a lot of changes. And then by the end, I would be like calling my point person at like 8 o'clock on Friday. I'm like, do we know what we're doing? And they're like, oh, I'm going to send it. It's just because it's the cold open and it was the election. So they were kind of, what? And so like, there were things where if you have an idea, you're looking at a writer who's been up for 4 days, who's also realizing there's the element of serving everyone in the cold open. There's also Lauren stuff. So it's a very complicated thing. So you're like, I don't want to be a pain in the ass. Like one of the things I kind of pride myself on is hopefully being a good soldier when I'm in a situation like that, because
do your part well, don't let anybody down.
Yeah, and not be the pain in the ass. So I kind of want to do that. But yeah, so that whole process of the bureaucracy, and maybe that's not the right term, but the process is so bananas that you also have to just go with the flow. And then the meeting in between the dress where Lauren would go up there and be like, don't touch your ear. And you're like, okay, all right, I won't touch. I didn't know I was touching my ear, but okay. And some of it is he's giving his notes. He's also this icon who obviously, I realize now that he is the modern day equivalent of P.T. Barnum, right? The impact he has on the zeitgeist is so enormous. So he sits there and he goes, yeah, we're not going to do that. Or like things that I think people could judge as bizarre, but if you consider the history and the on base percentage, the batting average, it's pure genius.
Yeah. It's funny because I think if someone could watch the process of how a sketch gets written and then it's read through, I do think it's Wednesday, as it gets read through on Wednesday, and then it gets to rehearsal, then it gets to the dress show, then there's that meeting beforehand, and then they select the sketches, finally they reorder it, and then there's the air show that happens. I think watching that process would make less sense than how they pick a pope at the Vatican.
Yeah.
I think there's more mystery smoke signals, craziness.
Yeah.
Cardinals making crazy deals.
Yeah.
Behind ancient walls. That would seem more normal than what happens at Saturday Night Live.
And I think there is also something of the resiliency that you need to process. I mean, you went through it, but the resiliency that these creative types, these people that are creative because they know how to react, listen to their emotions, or keep in touch with their point of view. But because I only did one table read. So like, I don't even know what day that is. And then also like the moving parts, like I think on the last episode, they did cuts. And then I think they had to cut a sketch mid-show.
Yeah, they do all the
which
time.
is just like, how do you? Not happening.
No, I back in my day, I authored several of those sketches where I've called my parents and I've said it's about two, coal miners. Yeah. And their little bird that's with them, and then look for me because that's my sketch, and it's going to be on at 12:55, and my parents would be like, "Well, we're going to watch, yay!" My father was Ronald Reagan. Yeah. Those Democrats with their taxes. We could use you up on Capitol Hill. And then at 12:48, I'd see my card come off. Because other stuff went long, so my card would come off the board and go to the side of the board, which means there's this side of the board that's outside the grid where literally you see your card slipping beneath the waves. Wow. And so suddenly my parents the next day, well, we thought it was terrific. It wasn't on.
Yeah.
They are lying.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
They went to bed at 9.
They went to bed at 9.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm so happy that you got to have that experience. And I'll just put it out there. You'd be a perfect host for that show.
Oh,
and you are in the zeitgeist now, and they'd be lucky to have you. So, I mean, from my lips to Lauren's ears.
Well, I am standing back. I have no opinion on that. I have all
if nominated,
respect.
I will not serve.
I have all respect for the process.
The convention.
Right.
I will do as I'm told. I'm just always trying to figure out, especially comedic minds I really admire. I want to get into a little bit of the workings of where they're from. I know you went to an insanely small high school in Indiana. Like, how small are we talking?
There were 105 kids in the entire school, but there were 25 in my graduating class. There were 5 girls.
Oh my God.
And 20 guys.
Jesus.
And but Chief Justice John Roberts went there.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So now I think it's 150 students.
It's just blown up.
7 girls.
Now it's huge. Now it's
6 girls.
But it was a great experience. And I kind of there's a delusion in those smaller schools where you're like, you know what? Yeah. And so like I didn't have that John Hughes experience where there were the potheads and the jocks and the beautiful people. It's like everyone was everything.
Yep.
So I think that kind of had an impact where when I got to college, I wasn't swayed by I should only hang around football players or I should only do this or that.
Somewhere you got this ability. There are a lot of comedians I admire, but I know, well, they can kill in front of this crowd, but they should probably stay away from that kind of crowd, or vice versa. They have their areas. I feel like I can't imagine a crowd that you wouldn't kill in front of. You do feel like someone who talks to everybody.
Oh, well, thanks. Yeah. No, it is weird because having done corporates, you've done corporates.
I've done some corporate, but really not much. I sometimes the assignment is just like,
it's so bizarre.
Make sure you mention, and whatever, the CEO.
Yeah.
You make sure you mention, really get him, and something just, I don't know.
Yeah,
and then
I get
you
very
look
depressed.
at
the CEO and they're like, don't do that. But I used to
I hear he's a real shithead. That was my go-to line, and they'd be like, hey, we thought you had a joke or something.
Yeah, well, sometimes they're like, you can make fun of Mindy. She's in charge of marketing. Go after her. And then you look at Mindy I don't do that stuff
Right,
anyway.
right,
but
right.
then you look at Mindy and she's like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
It was
I'm just in charge of marketing.
It was just that one person's bad idea. Do you know what I mean? And so, but the corporate setting is such a, like, there is part of me that, because I feel like I can work in those corporate settings where that means that it might be all over. Because, like, I would do a corporate show, I would bomb, and then you get off and they were like, you were great.
Yeah, we
And
just
I was
don't
like,
laugh.
no one laughed.
They're like, well,
No.
we're too rich to laugh.
Yeah, well, we were golfing all day, so, but
I
you
had
were much
one-
better than the guy before who made fun of Mindy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This was one, as I say, I've tried to not do it too much but there was one, it was, I think, an integration, maybe with the Turner show. I can't say the name of the company, but it was a telecommunications company. And we had to do this. They said, hey, Conan, they're buying time on the show and they really want you to go. So I remember I got on a plane and flew somewhere, and they say they're in there. It's the top. It wasn't and I come out, I wrote jokes because you can't do standard stuff. It's got to be for them.
Yeah.
And it's got to be about this company and stuff like that. So a lot of work went into it. I walked out there. I want to say it was about maybe 12, I think, all guys, and they were in big leather chairs that reclined slightly. And I looked out there was a big window behind them, and they had projected the famous logo of the company onto a mountain that you could see in the night through the window. So I walked out there, and it was these, and I started doing and I thought, oh, I've never felt more like a pathetic, bring the clown in.
Yeah.
Bring the clown. We're ready for the clown. And
the court jester.
And I could see
Do not
some of them.
challenge the king too much.
Yeah. And I could see they weren't really laughing, but they had wry smiles. And occasionally I could see one of them adjust his recliner a little more.
Yeah.
And I started to make fun of the fact that the logo was projected onto a mountain.
Yeah.
Out like this all felt evil. And I'm sort of starting to go off on that. And one of them deigned to crane his neck to see. Oh, yes, it is, isn't it? What is wrong with that?
Yeah.
That's as it should be, as it always is.
Yeah.
And I just left shivering. And I don't know. It was a terrible experience.
Yeah. No, there's some pretty crazy ones. Yeah. I did one where it was, I think, the top 12 dealerships of Saab or some car dealership thing. That was very weird. People just sitting at a table. Nobody wanted to see the stand-up. Have you done a birthday party? That's pretty weird.
I did a very famous person's birthday party for no money.
Oh, really?
I did it as a favor.
Oh, that must have went well.
To the
If there
very
was no money, that means it's pure death.
It was.
Was it for the birthday person themselves or one of their children? Or something?
No, it was for the person. It was a famous person who, and it was a personal favor because they had done the show a bunch of times, and one of their management said, "Hey, Conan, would you stop by and just do?" And I remember it again, feeling like, bring him in.
Yeah,
it was just. Let's see if he amuses us. Jim Gaffigan, The Skinny. This is, again, to your being prolific. You've got another special. They have been stunningly successful. You've won countless awards. I think you have every award one can have. I think it's too many, and you should give me some. But The Skinny, you're addressing weight loss. You're addressing people's obsession and weird feelings about weight loss and food. Yeah. Which is sort of a huge topic right now.
Yeah, I think it's really peculiar how people are secretive about taking an appetite suppressant. Like, or maybe they aren't secretive. I mean, but there's people that walk around with their hair dyed a different color, and we all know that, but nobody would think it was that weird.
You've talked about how there is kind of a shaming of people that have a food issue. Yeah. And then somehow there are other areas where we have a completely different, like drinking can be seen as very cool.
Romantic.
It's romantic, and the
I can't put the bottle down.
Yeah. Sounds much cooler than I can't put the cream pie.
I love donuts.
I want a donut.
Yeah, I think that's what this drug, I mean, this is not humorous, but like, I think that's what this drug proves, is that like some people, it's might not be psychological. It's a chemical thing, because it's fixed by chemical, that they have a chemical compulsion. I mean, I come from a family that is like big eaters, like, and that's a good sound effect, right? But I think
like the way you did that looks like it would be Cookie Monster, where most of it doesn't go in. The cookies are just
waste.
are just bouncing off the.
That's why you're so hungry. You're not getting much in the mouth.
Such waste, that Cookie Monster.
Cookie Monster never actually tasted a cookie.
Yeah,
he just caromed off the felt backstop of his mouth.
It's like he wasn't even really eating it. It's sad.
But there is a cultural part of it too, which is, you talk about it from a Midwestern point of view. I've seen the Boston Irish side of it, which is, it is the way in my family that we showed love. Was eating, because it wasn't hugging and saying I love you. And I love my parents, love my family. It was just cultural. It wasn't about that. We didn't drink. It was a dry house. And so no one could talk about sex
right.
in a million years. I still don't understand how it works.
Yeah.
And then what do you have? You have, we're gonna cook a giant meal and I'll eat it together, which is, we're gonna eat tons of ham and potato and all the butter in the world. And that is gonna be how we show our affection and love for each other, and have a communal moment.
Celebrate, or lick your wounds by overeating.
Yeah,
like my brother and I was like, I could throw up. That's what like when you've eaten so much, you're like, I could throw up. I feel great. You know what I mean? It's just
we did it.
We did it.
You talk about obviously how the drug has changed your life.
Yeah.
And
I also think it's temporary, meaning we're eventually going to find out that it makes people grow tails or something like that, right? So I view this weight loss as completely, I don't think I'm going to be, not that I'm even super thin, but I imagine it's an ongoing battle, my weight. Right.
I mean, but it's also, over the years, it was such a part of your comedy too.
Yeah, it was just
so funny talking about it, and talking about your obsession with food.
Yeah, the love affair with food. And now it's alcohol. No. But there is something, but the skinny, there is about the appetite suppressant, but I use the title The Skinny because that's, you do this, you write the stand-up, and then kind of the theme, you see the theme when you look at the material, and some of the special is about parenting teenagers. Like, I had no idea how difficult it was going to be to parent teenagers, because and I say that with empathy and also exhaustion, and part of I don't want to do it anymore, is because it's so difficult.
Yeah.
And I think adult humans, we have a built-in forgetter of the anxiety and the stress of being a teenager, because it's painful for them. So when they're going through it and you're this parent, it's not an easy road, even for the best kids.
Yeah.
And so that's some of, so I complain about my kids, but I do that in every special too. But it's a different type of complaining.
But then you get to pay then you can say, my bitching about you paid for your tuition, paid for this roof.
And since they're teenagers, I know they'll never watch the special, so it doesn't matter.
They're not your demo.
Yes.
Well, Jim Gaffigan, The Skinny, is now available to stream on Hulu. And Jim, from the bottom of my heart, I thank you for lending your comedic genius to my show for over a 30-year period. and then continuing to come back and do the podcast. I love talking to you.
Thanks.
And I'm kind of in awe of just you're so talented and so funny, and I just when you're around, I'm in a good mood.
Oh, well, thank you.
So you can't leave.
That's very nice.
Yeah, I can tell I'm really getting to you when your mouth gets very small. You went, oh, thank you.
I don't know what to do. I'm not comfortable with the compliments.
Well, then you like
Very
this part.
weird.
You're a real shitty guy, Jim.
Yeah, that's more like it. I don't like the compliments. You know, what are we in group therapy?
Yeah, you got an ugly mug, see?
Yeah, that's more like it. That feels better.
Lorne Michaels, this is a quote from Lorne Michaels. He called you, Jim Downey, the best political humorist alive.
Well,
that was before the birth 3 years ago of a hilarious child. Ogilvy Johnson.
Well, let's just, yeah.
But
I've seen the kid stuff.
Yeah, you're so principled, and you're right. Now, there's so much political comedy now, which is wailing one way or the other, and I find that it's just I don't know. It doesn't feel to me like a satisfying time to be a comedy writer if you're trying to do politics, because there's so much that's just attitude.
There's a temptation to enrage the audience. I mean, personally, I just fucking loathe Trump as a human being, but it doesn't mean that just attacking him is funny. There are interesting ways to attack him, I always like John Mulaney's thing about there's a horse loose in the hospital. Just a sort of an interesting.
Mulaney had a great run about Trump and as president, was like, there's a horse loose in a hospital, and just how odd that was. And it was
a metaphor.
It was a great metaphor for Trump being president. And what I loved about it was it captured the absurdity of it all, but it did it in this way that there was no bile. It was, and it's very hard. You need to sometimes, it was purely comedic, which I loved. Yeah. So let's just end this by saying that John Mulaney is better than anyone we know. Is that the point you were trying to make?
He's very good. Very funny man. When Mulaney first came to the show as a writer, you were talking about like my, I like to sort of identify people, and I didn't find him or hire him, but I was walking through, and this is really about Mulaney and not me, but I was walking through the studio, and by the end of my career, I was like, 60 years old, and I was aware of the age gap between me and having once been the very youngest writer, I was now massively the oldest writer. And so I didn't hang out. I didn't do the late night things. I wrote from home. Like, I live in upstate New York near Cooperstown. And so I would be at home Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and then I'd write my piece and I dictate it. I always dictate my pieces because they have to be spoken, and they have to be speakable, and they have to be, they're going to be heard and not read. And so you need to, when I'm dictating them, I'm changing them. I go, wait a minute, hang on, I'm changing, And anyway, so they have it a read through, and then I'm told if it's in or not. And if it's in, I drive down to New York. And anyway, so I was in the studio on Saturday, and I'm not even sure I'd met Mulaney. It was like the second show. And I'm walking through the studio, and they're rehearsing one of his he had a piece on. I think it was like his second show, and he had this hilarious piece on, and there's a great sort of. It was the host was Tim McGraw, and who's a really good actor, very funny guy, and it was like a country kind of it was like a show where he does like practical jokes, but he's such a soft-hearted, sweet guy. He keeps like apologizing for. It's hard to explain. You have to see the piece. And I heard it, and I know this makes me sound like an arrogant asshole, but it reminded me of that. There was a story about Ted Williams when Hank Aaron was a rookie. Ted Williams is playing. He was somehow involved in. I didn't know they had interleague games or anything, but Hank Aaron is warming up, and Ted Williams is sitting in the dugout and hears from the way the ball is coming off Hank Aaron's bat that he's never heard that before.
Mm-hmm.
And he storms out there, who was just taking batting practice? And it was Hank Aaron and Ted Williams, like, and I sort of had that, it was akin to that. I'm not comparing myself to Ted Williams.
No.
I am comparing John Mulaney to Hank Aaron, though.
He's a lot like Hank Aaron.
But I'm saying that I walking through the studio and I hear this and I go, that's a new writer. That's not a writer I know.
Yeah.
We have a new writer or a guest writer because that's not, and I'm listening to the piece and I go, that was not written by a writer whose work and I was right.
Cool.
I was
That's
right.
cool.
It turned out it was John, and he went on to write a lot of great stuff. And,
and then he's trying stand up, but whatever.
He's young.
He's young. He'll get it. He will get it. Hang in there, sir.